So I was a long-term sub with Scoop for about 6.5 months. It was a great experience. I'm still substitute teaching, but I am no longer full-time at this moment. I am a mom. I have two children, a 16-year-old daughter and almost 3-year-old son. I've been working in education at this point, probably like nearly 20 years. I started working in education when I was in college. I was a volunteer at an after-school program. It's over the years, I would work in education in different settings. I worked as a counselor in alternative high school for a few years. I would say like 2006, 2007, yeah. Once I graduated from college in 2007, I conceived my daughter like almost immediately. And living in New Jersey, some would say that was like a recession during that time. It was really difficult to find work. I majored in communications and just not getting any callbacks or any interviews. Someone said, won't you go look into substitute teaching? It seems like it's always something needed. So at that point, I went into substitute teaching and it was like a demand. I was working almost every day with children ages ranging from like pre-K through 12th grade. And around the time that I had my son, I stayed home with him, almost 3-year-old. It was between like, the pandemic mixed with wanting to be home with the baby that I decided that when it's time to go back to work, I want to ease back into work. I didn't want to feel overwhelmed with a very demanding job. And that's how I wound up substitute teaching again. There was one occasion where I was working with a young lady and I was working with a group and they found themselves running down the hall and I'm like, guys, stop running. They find themselves, we're kind of alone. And they start dancing and hollering and things like that. So I remember the young lady while I was talking to the group, I specifically was talking to her and I was telling her that my expectations for her as a young lady, like I'm telling you from a woman to a young lady that I wanted you to behave differently. And she was like, why are you just talking to me? Why aren't you talking to the boys? And I was like, well, I'm going to get around to talking to them, but you're the only young lady involved. I wanted to talk directly to you in this moment. And she kind of like rolled her eyes and was like, shut up. And I was like, wait a minute, because I hear pretty well. Did you just tell me to shut up? The kids around her like, yeah, she said it. She said it or whatever. This is 6th grade. So I told her to step out of line and we need to go speak to the dean who was responsible for disciplining, and they were in meetings. And I said, well, you can't come back to the space I'm in until you apologize. And she gave me such a hard time in front of the vice principal. It was huffs and eye rolling, and I don't really feel like I need to apologize. It went on for a while, and eventually she realized that she was wrong. She took accountability and she apologized. But it went on for an hour or so. I found myself mostly interested in working with teenagers. It just seemed like the days were just smoother. Even with their personalities, they just were way more independent. Oftentimes, high schoolers, like teenagers, are misunderstood. And I've been trained to understand that. When I worked as a counselor in alternative high school for a few years, especially in our urban community where I've been working over the years. They come in with a lot of trauma. A lot of their issues are not personal. So, sometimes there's a verbal exchange, inappropriate language, and there's profanity involved, and you're on the other end of it, and you're like, why me? And it's not really about you. It could be about something that happened at home the night before or something that's been going on for weeks now. So just trying to understand where the issues derive from when you have those type of teenagers, where the rebellious spirit comes from. Because we all know teenagers naturally are feisty. So they are going through something very personal that's bothering them. I mentioned that I was looking for an opportunity that was flexible, something that wasn't demanding on me emotionally. I wanted to be able to have something for my children who are teenagers and toddlers at the time. So I went online and I just typed in substitute teaching. I think I typed it in on like Indeed or something. And school came up and a couple different other agencies came up. However, school application, they made it pretty easy. Once you kind of like clicked on and you started the process, they had a representative reach out to you and navigate you through the steps and get a physical, request your background check. They just stayed on top of things, and they were patient at the same time. And it seemed like it went by it was like a pretty smooth enrollment process into the organization. School, again, they have been very supportive with the enrollment process to even be hired, very patient and clear on instructions to get things rolling, been consistent with presenting opportunities, daily employment, whether it's long-term or a stable assignment. They have also provided us with professional development where they pay us for the professional development. And during the holiday season, they had a really cool happy hour. I don't turn off the opportunity to, gather, eat, and have drinks. So that was cool. I started off with just 2-3 days a week. That's all I wanted. I wanted to ease in. I didn't want anything demanded. I didn't know what my emotions were going to hold. We were virtual with most days, and I had a baby. So I said, I want to start off with maybe just doing 2-3 days a week. And I found myself back into rotation and working with children. And I think 1 week, I did 5 days. I did every day. I was there the whole entire week. And one of the New Jersey representative, Jamie, she called me and she was like, do you want me to be full time? And I was like, well, I don't know. That's not what I wanted to do, but I like the way the 5-day check looked. Okay. So I was like, you know what? I may need a day or two off. I don't know. She's like, just let us know. But because you've been coming pretty consistently, I think you should be full time. The money is a little more and I think you can do it. So she sent me over the opportunity. She said, the school liked you. You're there with them. And why not? So she sent me over the opportunity for October because I did that for the month of September. And she sent me over the opportunity for October. And then every month, 3 days before the month would end, I would get something from Jamie saying, hey, they want you back for November. Hey, they want you back for December, January. And that's what happened for the month of April. So actually, this setting is a pre-K through 8 setting. But when I was consistently subbing, I was working in the middle school with the 6th graders. I worked with the 6th graders for a month. They actually got a full-time teacher, but they wanted me to assist her to help her with the transition because she was the first year. She is a first-year teacher. It was a new experience, and they knew I had been working with the children for a few months at that point. So when I wasn't working with them, occasionally I would get called to 7th or 8th grade. But for the most part, I was with 6th grade most of the last 6.5 months or so. Now I get called daily. Over the last 2 weeks, I'll get called most mornings. Sometimes I'm able to make it, sometimes I can't. And they'll give me a different opportunity. But school has been consistent with presenting opportunities. Even when the long-term opportunity was no longer there, I would still get called for other schools or even that school for a different grade. I just love children. So when I purchased my home a few years ago, I didn't even have my son, but I had nieces and nephews already. So I made sure I had a yard and they were able to run around. I just love children. I love to see children in their element. I feel like even when they're teenagers, they're still fairly innocent, and it's just a time to embrace. And they also need support and love from people that may not even really know them. When they go into certain environments, I try to treat children the way I would want my children treated. It's a matter of loving on the youth. That's just how I feel, loving on the youth. You get your calls and they're a little last minute, so you don't really have time to research your school. Call you in the evening, preferably. That would be my preference as somebody who has children. What would my morning look like? But a lot of times you are getting called the morning of at 6 in the morning, 7:30. Sometimes it can be later, depending on if the school or the teacher calls out, the time frame. If they get sick, at home or something like that. So you can get your calls. It's a wide range of times. And usually it's before 7:30 a.m. Once they get the call, if they want the opportunity, because they'll tell you a grade. For the most part, they'll let you know the pre-K. If it's 5th grade, then you can make a decision on if you want to go with that. And sometimes if you say no, but I am still open, they'll call you back with another opportunity, which I think is really cool because no, I don't want to work with pre-K today. However, I will want to work with 5th grade today. Once you get your opportunity, I would recommend you looking up the location, seeing the distance it is, how far it is from your home or wherever you are, so you can pace yourself for your morning so you can get there on time. Sometimes they're patient with times because they know it could be last minute. I would definitely recommend dressing business casual. Most of the jobs, the schools don't really require you to be dressed up. because they know your day could be a little busy, but I would dress appropriately. I wouldn't wear jeans. I would wear some type of khakis or slacks and maybe like a button up or depending on the season, a sweater or something like that. Bringing water to stay hydrated. That's just me. I'm a big water drinker. Bring water or snacks because depending on the demands of the schedule, you may not get much time to eat, or you may get a long lunch period. But if you're not familiar with the neighborhood, you may not feel comfortable going out, or maybe you commuted to work and you don't have a car. Bring, something, some type of snacks or something like that for your day. Once you arrive, school provides you with a contact person. You know who to look for when you arrive, but there's often multiple staff members. So once you come in, you say your name. My name is Lakiesha Smith. I'm here from school to substitute for 5th grade. There may be somebody else in place. You may not even see that person. They know where to send you. I think I'll stay with school for a while, even if a full-time opportunity presents itself outside of this sector of education. I'm looking to do something hybrid and maybe have the flexibility to come a day or two as well. One word, consistent.